Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our trading session, our Thursday morning trading room. Oh, hold on one second. I forgot to do something here. There's so much to do to get ready every morning. Okay, all set. For those of you who are new to the room this morning, welcome. What you're looking at is the diversified trading system, and it's diversified, of course, because we're looking at the market from three different points of view. Here on the top left, I have my Hawk Scalper. Top right is the Falcon Swing Trader. Bottom left is the Eagle Trend Trader. Bottom right is the Raptor. On this monitor, I have got the NASDAQ, which is one of my personal favorites. And I've also had requests to watch the E-mini. So I've got the E-mini S&P on my other chart, my other monitor, and the mini Dow. Okay. Well, let's take a look at where we've been in the overnight. It looks like we're getting a little bit of choppiness out of the gate this morning. Why don't we go with the Falcon? And here in the overnight, you can see that, well, pretty much a strong rally through the Asian session, which would have begun over here. The market picked up a little bit and right through the London Open, through the German and London Opens, and then they kind of flattened out a little bit in time for the North American Open. Well, isn't that nice? Working on a possible trend change signal here in the Falcon right now. We did get an early first micro macro cross just out of the opening bell, and I did think about taking that, but I was still setting up a few things. Lots of yellow bars here through the Hawk. So I'm going to try to be a little bit extra cautious. Okay, we're getting a green bar sell here. Now, the green bar sell is one of these signals that you can take with trend or you can plan for the failure, which is what I think I'm going to do. A lot of times what the green bar sells also is you can dial down your risk amount, because out of all our Hawk signals, this is sometimes the weaker of the signals. All right, looks like we might end up getting filled there, getting a trend change signal here also in the Falcon now to the upside on the NQ. We're getting our warning dots. Oh, there's our triangle and hash mark. I would take that just above the highs. And we are getting a red bar buy in the eagle off of a hard edge bounce. So we're getting signals across the board here right now. And these are all early signals, right? These are not always signals that will be in a hurry to take. Oh, I'm going to hold my stop back here a little bit. All right, while we're doing that, let's take a look at what's going on here in the Raptor. The Raptor, the band is still bullish, and I suppose we did get a buy signal here out of the Raptor also. Did that one sync up with our filter? No, not yet. So we're working on another Raptor buy signal, and we can throw the buy order in here and then roll it down. We got our first micro-macro cross here in the Hawk also. You'll notice that when the green bar sell fails, it usually isn't too long until you get a first micro-macro cross buy. And I did set this one up so that we did have a runner in play. So we're getting some reaction now to this resistance area right up here. Oh, maybe it's a little bit early. This should prove to be a significant area right here, however. All right, probably time to bring this one to break even. Well, it sounds like we're hitting a few profit targets. We found our profit target on our two Falcon trades. Well, sorry, Falcon and Raptor trades. Too many things for me to remember. And I think I'm going to engage my stops here on my Eagle. And as that gets a little closer to target, I think I will roll those stops up also. See, now we're hitting here on the highs. So we're going to see the sellers probably step in. Let's see, where are parabolics at? No, parabolics are still way back here. This is always the hard part of trading, isn't it? Trying to ride out that swing. And it looks like we're working into a macro pullback here. Oh, just got tagged on that macro pullback signal. Okay, now do you see here how the eagle has come down and given me this long wick candle? That's a good one to roll your stop below. If it fails again at this high, we're very likely to see it retrace and at least trade below the low here. So you could even become more aggressive with your stop if you chose. Very significant level, it seems, right here around this whole 42, 30, 31 area. Like I said, if they fail here, I think the chances are pretty good that we're going to see them continue higher. The Dow and the E-mini are both languishing a little bit. So let me go just below that low now. I'll just give it this one candle to sort itself out. If it fails here, then it's probably a good spot, good time to leave. All right. Well, I think we did okay there, didn't we? Oh, ran away with 80 bucks to the good. That's all right. You see, I think here's the E-mini. Not that the E-mini drives the NQ, but look at how sideways the E-mini is. This is on our hawk, of course. And let's take a look at the Dow. Which also seems to be very sideways. Lots of yellow bars through here. Lots of breakup in the filter. Oh, come back here. I was just about to point out this macro pullback signal that we have. We're making another push here toward the highs. Oh, and we did generate another buy signal here in the eagle off of the highs. So we can look to enter just above the highs, maybe cover below the hard edge. And we're getting another buy signal in the Raptor. So here we have a chance for a second push entry on the Raptor. Nice little soft edge bounce. So it looks like at the moment anyways, it's a little bit of a buyer's market. Of course, now that I've said that, watch prices fold right over. Okay, so 2 for 2 on the Raptor, and just waiting to get maybe a little bit more breathing room here on the Eagle. Come on, NQ. Come on, let's go. See, this bar is showing me quite a bit of seller participation, or you can see how evenly the bar is spaced right now, and that's to be expected. We did break these highs right here after all. Okay, there we go. We're getting a little bit more breathing room. I'm going to go to the parabolics now. There we go. Come on. Run, Forrest. The E-mini gave us a nice signal here in the Falcon. Unfortunately, we didn't get this signal in the Hawk. It came off of the yellow bar. But you know how we were looking at this just a moment ago and it was so range bound? Well, here toward the end, we actually got a proper trend change signal. In fact, it was even a late filter entry. Right? The trend line did not change color. The filter went out of sync, came back into sync. Very, very high probability signal on your Falcon swing trader. And you can see a nice progression as a result. How high are we above the... Oh, wow. Yeah, we're fairly bullish today. Look at this. We're already 3 full zones above the primary resistance line. on our support and resistance suite. That's quite bullish. The Dow was a little bit more cooperative signal-wise. We did get a first micro-macro cross signal right here. Very good progression out of that one. Oh, looks like we're getting a little bit of pullback now. We may not be able to ride this one out. Let's watch the action unfold. So parabolics have us up at break even right now, which is fine with me. Come on, buyers. There you go. Come on. Dig in. Oh, come on. Hold on. Get up there. Here, I'll give you a bit of a nudge with the mouse. There you go. Get up there. There you go. No, here they come. Come on. Come on, you guys. And girls. Come on, ladies, do your part. Get in there. Start buying. If we can just hold on for a few more minutes. Oh, almost in the clear. Come on. Oh, they're really trying to knock us down now. Come on, get up there. Get up there. According to Trade Forecaster, we're in scalp mode at the moment, so that could explain some of the choppiness. I think this was definitely characteristic of what we were seeing in the E-mini and the Dow, more so than the NQ. Here's the eagle on the E-mini, and you can see all this early chop right through here, just back and forth, back and forth. Finally got a bit of a break to the upside, but they seem to be putting the brakes on that. We're holding our own at break even +1. Okay, maybe I will put crude oil back in the mix because I've got a little extra redundancy here with the 3 stock indices. Curious to see what crude oil is up to this morning. Because sure as anything, when I see my friends later, they're going to say, so, where's crude oil at now? And I don't know what it's like in your part of the world, but early speculation that crude might be rallying all of a sudden. Oh my gosh, the prices at the pumps are spiking already. Well, crude oil's sitting at around $50 at the moment. Nice little early morning rally in crude also. Here's the eagle on crude oil. So honestly, this would have been a little bit more difficult to actually get a hold of because the band flipped over here slightly, but this is actually a red bar buy. And it's one of these where it would have been a little bit more of a judgment call. Just to trade the signal purely, it would have been very difficult to capture. But even if you missed that one, it came back with a proper buy signal right here and easily found our profit objective on that move. See, the crude oil, for whatever reason, when it hits that hard edge and really bends it, it will flip the band temporarily, but it's still a red bar buy off of a hard edge bounce. So that's something that's a little characteristic of the crude oil market. Here's a similar thing. This one did not have nearly the follow-through that we saw in the other ones, but it's probably because, of course, crude was in this major decline. I try not to trade against the trend if there is an established trend. So possibly coming back with another red bar buy here on crude oil. Tom says there's a labor strike in the U.S. and prices at the pumps have more to do with the labor dispute than with crude oil prices rising a few dollars. You know, they'll use any excuse to raise the price at the pumps, won't they? My yacht needs an overhaul. Let's raise gas prices a nickel. Okay, so we've fallen a little bit flat since the early rally. But that's okay. We took our share. Let's see, I usually don't do this until the end of the session. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're up a few bucks on a couple Falcon trades. Up another 100 there on the Raptor. Should be another 100 bucks here on the Eagle, yes. And another 150 there. So my day would pretty much be done. Why ask for trouble? The market still seems pretty strong for the most part, though. Okay, we're into yellow bars now on our Hawk tool, as you can see. So that's going to give us pause. The Raptor and the Eagle both coming back here with complementing buy signals. I would definitely want to take this above the high of this bar. This is the type of situation where I would like to take advantage of a second push on the entry. And the reason is that when we start hitting this soft edge, changing bar colors, it's very common to see a double pullback into the hard edge. So by taking the signal above the high of that bar right there, that allows me to get involved if there's some renewed momentum. Now, I'm going to need to set a stop strategy here in a moment. There we go. So there's a possible Raptor trade brewing. And like I said, we have the complementary signal here on the Eagle as well. And it's the same notion where you would want to take advantage of the second push. You want to get involved when there's renewed momentum to the upside. Tom's asking about soybeans. Let me pull up the soybean market. I had somebody asking me about the E-mini, so I've been plotting the E-mini for the last couple of days, but soybeans is a market that I do like to trade. So soybeans here on the Hawk, beans are looking a touch weaker this morning. It shoot a trend line across the bottom here, and you can see we've got a red bar buy signal. Remember, these red bar buy, green bar sells you can also use as early warning signals. Sometimes if I'll trade the failure of the signal because they will seem like the safer trade to do. And what I mean by that is we know that before this market will reverse, we need to see a test of the extreme, right? We need to see it go higher. However, I don't know how high it can go here. So if I go with the trend, which is fine, if I go with the trend, I may not trade high enough to actually hit my profit objective. Now, I've stretched the profit target for soybeans somewhat. Just because it's one of these instruments where it's like crude oil. It's a little extra volatile, can move a little bit further, a little bit faster. So I've expanded my profit objective somewhat. In fact, it's still a little high, but we'll leave it at that. I'm going to bring back crude oil here, which has just made a major spike off of that red bar buy, off the hard edge bounce. See that? Look at that move. My goodness, what a fantastic move in crude oil. And we had signals across the board on that one. We had a trend change signal here in the Falcon. Now, I know somebody's going to write me and say, Eric, why didn't my trend change signal to the downside work out? I get these all the time. Was this not a trend change signal? Should I not have taken that? Well, yes, it was a trend change signal, but a couple of things here. First off, major uptrend, right? There's no denying this is a strong trending market. We took a nice bounce here off primary support. Even if you don't have the support and resistance suite, however, there's no denying which direction this market is going today. So if you are trading a market that has an established trend for the day, try not to get too excited about counter trend signals. And if you do choose to take a counter trend signal, try to protect yourself. Try to reduce your risk amount for starters. So dial it down maybe to 1% of your account. Let's dial this back. Try to trade as deep a stop as you can manage. Now, I know this seems counterintuitive, but by having a deeper stop, you're going to give yourself a little bit more staying power. If this market is truly changing trend, what has to happen? Well, we need to see a test of the extreme to the upside before it can head lower again, right? Before it can change direction, we need to see this little move right through here. So you don't want to frame your trade so tight that you can't withstand a little bit of a hiccup in price. So try to trade it as far back as you can. A lot of times I'll look at the curve in the trend line here. Because I'm only trading 1%, you see Trade Manager is not allowing me to trade 1% and a stop that deep. So if I'm really excited about taking this trade, if I think this is a very good signal, then I'm going to have to risk the full 2%, try to trade it back there. So the market brings you in, goes a little bit in your favor. Whoa, hit our high probability profit target. Look at that. We're in the clear. And then we start to get the reversal. Now, let's say we did not get our high probability target. All right, let's say the market went against us or did not reach our target just yet, and now we're getting prices coming against us somewhat. And let's say we chose to hold our stop here. Notice this candle right here. with this long tail to it. This candle was red for a little while. So it showed some definite selling pressure, and it would no doubt be associated with all this selling that occurred through here. You see, there was some selling around here, there was selling around here, there was selling around here. So there's some selling going on here. If I'm thinking that, okay, once this bar goes green after it had been red, I'm thinking, uh-oh, my trade could be in trouble. This would be a good spot maybe to roll your stop above. In which case you would have been stopped out on the next bar. But you see, the next bar did the same thing. It went red for just a minute or two, or however long it took, and then it started coming against you again. So if you didn't roll on this one, I would probably have rolled on that one, would have minimized your loss a little bit, maybe taken, I don't know, another $50, $75 out of the trade before, oh, well, there you go. You had one more chance. If you didn't do it here or here, you did get a definite red bar here. So definitely you'd want to roll above there, and I would probably even follow it down. So chances are you would have been stopped somewhere through here, maybe saved $100 before the market reversed on you and started going higher again. See, it came right back with that trend change signal to the upside, telling you that, oops, you're on the wrong side of this trade. But the big tip off, of course, was the trend, was the fact that this market does have a trend today. So try not to get too excited about counter trend signals. And you know what? The trade manager is here to protect you. So if you do take a counter trend signal, you dial it down to 1%, you set it up, and trade manager says, oh, sorry, Eric, you can't afford that. That's too much money for you. Well, then leave it at that. Say, okay, I can't afford this trade. I'll wait for the next signal. Because if this trend truly is changing over, you will get another chance at it. Which you see what's happening now? Look at the length of our moves. So here's our first move. Here's our second move. Well, actually both are very strong. We still have a market that's very much in an uptrend today. Let's shoot a trend line across the bottom. See how we're following that. See, so we're getting some trend change signals here, but once again, before we get too anxious about selling, we need to have that test of the extreme, right? We need to see this bit right through here. Now, that's not to say crude oil won't be heading lower from here. There's going to be some profit taking and whatnot going on. But just like before, you're probably better off looking for a buying opportunity. Don't think for a moment there won't be some sort of reaction around here. If prices get down, looks like about 50-60, maybe even 50-50. Don't think for a moment there's not going to be some buyers with their limit orders parked right there looking to take advantage of a bounce. Oh, speaking of bounces, it looks like, you see, here's that double pullback that we were talking about. So we've pulled back into the hard edge. If we come out of here and generate another buy signal, that could be a favorable buy. Oh, and the eagle is actually signaling a little bit early. We're getting some conflicting signals now between the tools. So here's the eagle with a buy signal. It's against the ATR. So you could do a couple things here. You could postpone your entry until the other side of the ATR. You could wait for a second push on the entry. This is a red bar buy off of a hard edge bounce. We are starting to break the hard edge a little bit more, however, which is not usually something we want to see. The hawk, I don't know, has it folded over already? We did get a test of the extreme here. Oops. So we'll see whether or not they hold. They're working on a green bar sell, and we'll see whether or not that translates into a test of the extreme to the downside and a possible failure and move higher. Got to take some of these lines off of here. Things are getting confusing. Here's soybeans. Soybeans also giving us a little bit of an assortment of signals. The hawk, as you remember, was looking a little bit bearish. Here's the falcon, kind of sideways, right? If you had to choose a trend on here, what would it be? Well, we have an up, we have a down, we have an up, we have a down. So very much sideways at the moment. No real discernible trend. Might be a good one to dial down the risk amount a little bit. We are getting a possible late filter entry signal here. We won't know for sure if it's a late filter entry until it closes down here. So you could postpone your entry below this bar. You could set up to enter with a limit order at the hash mark, which is what a lot of times what we'll do with the late filter entry signal. So we'll let this bar complete, make sure the filter flips over, and then submit our order. And just quickly here on the soybean market, here's the eagle. And you can see we seem to be holding a little bit of a trend through here. And of course, very choppy looking here also. So whereas the hawk and falcon are looking a little bit more bearish at the moment, anyways, the eagle to me seems to be maybe a little bit more bullish, but definitely choppy. You know, short-term follow-through, not a nice progression like this. It's all short-term rallies. So maybe the hawk and eagle have the inside track. Oh, well, fantastic. Here's, I didn't know, Jim, that you were a programmer. Jim said that if you go to Ninja, you can download my indicator, first hour high indicator, and it's free. Well, thank you very much, Jim. That's very kind of you. James commenting that the YM tested the 10 a.m. high, but the NQ did not. I'm definitely going to do that. And that was called, James says, I'm not a code geek, I just figured it out. Well, good for you. Okay, so that was called first hour high indicator. Curtis says he missed the announcement. Jim is one of the members in the room here, and he's always reminding me of the 10 a.m. high. or low, as the case may be. And the reason for that is the big traders tend to step up at 10 o'clock. That's when they flood the market with their orders. And as a result, it tends to be a pretty significant high or low for the day. And James actually programmed the NinjaTrader program to highlight the 10 a.m. highs and lows so that you can be aware of what may potentially be a significant support or resistance area. Oh, Tom says we've had a 30-minute breakout on what was that, Tom? The NQ? Let me get a 30-minute chart going here. Oh, Tom says no, the system. The 10 system, that's right. Okay, we're stalling somewhat here after our early rally. Okay, the Raptor definitely given us a double pullback signal. We need to see the buyers come away from this hard edge now and generate a buy signal, or all bets are off. We will have had a definite test of the extreme, two tests of the extreme, if you want to see it that way, and we can probably expect the market to fold over and head lower. Okay, my early selling attempts in the soybean market have not materialized. In fact, maybe the eagle was leading the way. This is the falcon, of course, but our sell attempts below this signal here never materialized. The bar started going the other way, changed to green, and now we're working on a possible trend change to the upside. But soybeans seem to be fairly content around this 90-80 price. Okay, here come the NQ buyers. All right, now this isn't quite a late filter entry because we did go out of sync here for a few bars, but it is a trend change signal. I'm missing the Raptor trade explaining this, but what is it characteristic, even though the bar went out of sync here or the trend line went out of sync for a bar or two, it probably just went out of sync because this candle right here traded a tick too low, and that was enough to toss the trend line into into a red mode for a couple of bars. But we have this characteristic up, down, up pattern, right? So that's showing us that there's buying support. The buyers are pressing the sellers. Now the sellers are fighting the market down, right? They're struggling. They're trying to push it down. And we'll see here if we get somebody ticking 42.35, 42.35 quarter, I think we're going to start to see the sellers bail out of their position and maybe defend up here at 42.40. All right, let's see. There they go. There's somebody ticked 50. See how the sellers are jumping on them? How they're trying to knock them down? And now the buyers have got to come back. All right, everyone, here's the name of the indicator that James programmed, and you can get it at the NinjaTrader support site, and I'll give you that link here in a moment. There you go. Well, thanks, Jim. That's really nice of you. I'm definitely going to download that and play with that. Okay, now this is the signal we were waiting for here on the Raptor. We had the double pullback, came out, generated a blue buy. Let's see if it, well, I could punch in with a market order. It's not quite the entry I wanted. I thought about perhaps going in with a limit order, seeing if it would reach back far enough to pick me up. So a little bit late to the party on this one, but it does look like the buyers are giving it one more push. And we have corresponding signals. We had the buy signal here in the Falcon, the first micro-macro cross in the Hawk. They're all kind of pointing toward the same thing, and we've still got this struggle going on here between the buyers and the sellers. Well, they'd better come through or this is going to be a short-lived rally. In fact, I think I'm going to become a lot more aggressive with my stop on this one. So we'll just give it the one bar to work itself out. And same thing here on the Eagle. If they're going to go, they'd better go, otherwise I'll give give them 2 bars to sort themselves out. So let's watch the action. You see, we've got sellers from here as well. Obviously, we have sellers here and some sellers here. Okay, so we've overwhelmed the traders that have sold here. Now we're picking a fight with these guys up here. And of course, these guys here. So this whole range from 42.38, 42.40, that was carrying a little bit of selling weight to it. Let's see, are these trades at break even yet? Not quite. I'm going to punch the Raptor trade to break even just because I got a late entry on it. And the Eagle trade, well, I've got a little bit of wick below this candle here. What have I got? An open 80 bucks. I'll let it ride. Let it ride. Okay. So here come the sellers now, which is to be expected. And they're going to try to knock us down a little bit here. And of course, we'd love to see the buyers step up early. Just take all the pressure off. Ah, fantastic. James says he's watching the advanced decline. There's 2,100 advancers and just shy of 800 decliners. So what that means is, as far as the stock market is concerned, it's biased toward the buyers, which is good for us. Woohoo! Of course, that gives us a longer-term view, not necessarily the immediate movement of the market, which sometimes is difficult to decipher. You know, it could be a little profit taking going on here, could be extra selling going on here. If there were traders who were scalping, say off of a little trend line bounce here, this would definitely be a scalping target, and their sell orders would be enough to cause the market to dip a little bit. Little bit. Of course, the old nudge with the mouse sometimes helps. Get up there. Get up there. You'll notice too that we're working on a double dot sell signal here. Let me clean this up. Now this is our counter trend signal in the Falcon. It's not one that I do very often unless I have good reason to. And what I mean by that is I like to, if I'm going to do a double dot sell signal, I like to tie it in with a recent, in this case, swing high. The nice thing about the double dot sell signal is that it's very easy to tell if you are wrong about the trade. So if I'm going to set up to sell this, I know the hash mark is going to print right down here at the low. I can cover this trade above this high at 42.40, And I know without a doubt, if this market brings me in and then reverses above 42.40, I am definitely on the wrong side of this trade. Now, this is also because it's a counter trend signal. It is also a signal that I would dial down the risk amount on. It is not something that you just jump into with both feet. Counter trend signals, right? See, this is why counter trend signals are not as preferable, because if for whatever reason I had sold this early, I would not have the opportunity to take advantage of this buy signal. And oops, okay, so we can wait for a second push on this entry also. Now that we're back here. Actually, let's take a look. Are we still long the eagle? Yes, we are. All right, I'm probably going to let it ride then. Just go with my eagle trade. Now we're hitting this whole 42.40 area again, right back near yesterday's highs. Probably a good time to get this one to break even. Well, that was a nice little hop. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Somebody take 42.40 and a half. Oh, there's 40. There's half. Hooray. Wow, the sellers are really hopping on them. Come on, get up there. Get up there. There we go. There's 40 half. Let's see 41. No, there come the sellers again. They're knocking them down a bit. Not willing to walk away. Well, I saw 43/4, I think, there for a second. Oh, come on. Well, at least today has a little bit more directionality to it. Yesterday, well, thank goodness yesterday was demo day. I could take a little bit more time explaining the tools than trying to find a decent trade. There we go. There's 41, 42. Oh, come on. We're so close. 42, 42.75. Come on. Come on. You know you want to. Here, we'll squeeze it. Just one more push. Where's Ray when I need him? Oh, crude oil back and forth like a seesaw. Here's crude. Look at this day. Another red bar buy bounce. And another red bar buy bounce. We're starting to see less follow through, and we're starting to generate green bar sell signals. Technically, this is a rule of three. We have had 1, 2, 3 signals break against the hard edge. We have had a test of the extreme. We might be looking at crude oil packing it in for the day and maybe, just maybe, heading a little bit lower. Again, I would not get too excited at the moment. It looks like we did break a trend line there. And we're working on another trend line here. If we get closer to failure of this trend line, I might be more persuaded to sell. Okay, the Eagle looks like it's going to print a buy signal here for crude in just a second. The Falcon, not so much. Falcon still looking rather lost. It's got that roller coaster look to it, and you can tell our band, our filter here at the bottom, breaking up quite a bit. And the Hawk, last but certainly not least, also introducing a lot more yellow bars. Now, even though this red bar buy printed way back here, you could still set up to short below that red bar buy. You could park that order and say, okay, here is my testing of the extreme. If this market fails, it's going to fail right here, and that's where I will sell from. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The way this has retraced, however, we may actually get a first micro-macro cross before we get the failure of the red bar buy. It's unusual, but it can happen. So definitely on the lookout for crude oil maybe to turn over here and make a run at these lows. Maybe even get back down somewhere near 50.10, 50.20. That could make for a very substantial move. In fact, why don't I see if we can't do a runner, seeing how this would allow me 2 contracts. And here on the Falcon, here on crude, working on a trend change signal, I would probably take the trend line into account. It's also a late filter entry signal. So I don't want to enter until this signal actually prints and the filter flips over. Otherwise, it's not a late filter entry. So I want to make sure I'm below this trend line, probably cover above this swing high. So that trade would look something like that. Now, it hasn't printed just yet, so that's something I'm anticipating, but it's not quite ready yet. And here the buyers are still pressing. So we may have to come back to crude oil in a moment. There is a buying opportunity here on the Eagle also above these highs. I would set it up above to take it above the ATR, however. Oh, and we're getting our swing signal here in crude, so let me come back to that. Here's our late filter entry. The signal is in sync now. I would take it below the trend line So it would look something like that. In fact, I might even take it a little bit further below the trend line. Because, hey, this is crude oil. The market doesn't have to bounce right on the trend line. Still holding on to our eagle trade. It's nice to see some pretty aggressive little hops to the upside here as they're fighting that 42.30 line, or sorry, 42.43 line. There we go. Who's your daddy? That's right. Okay. Whew. Earned that one. But a solid signal. These red bar buy signals, very solid signals off of these hard edge bounces. And of course, if you can tie it in with the trend line, so much the better. You don't need trend lines, but really, for the as simple as it is to shoot a trend line across your chart, the nice thing about trend lines is you're not the only one seeing the trend line. Right? There's a lot of traders who trade trend lines almost blindly. They'll shoot a trend line and they'll start populating the trend line with their buy orders. So you're almost guaranteed some sort of reaction. Whether the reaction will have a lot of follow through to it or not, well, that's really anybody's guess. But I want to be buying when people are buying. I want to be selling when people are selling. Okay, crude oil backing away from both our selling attempts, so you can scrub those orders. And we did have another buy opportunity here, of course, in the Falcon. And we're getting another buy opportunity here in the Hawk as well. Now, this is a 3-arrow consolidation. We're working, no, we've already tripped our 3rd arrow. I would like to see a 4-arrow consolidation here, and this isn't the 4-arrow consolidation that we'd normally like to see. Remember, usually when we're looking at 4-arrow consolidations, we're looking for something that might resemble a bull flag, or in the case of a downtrend, something that resembles a bear flag. This one a little bit sideways to up. The problem I'm having with this one right now is that if it engaged me here, there is a very real possibility it would develop into a macro pullback, which means that it's going to be testing my stops, which means maybe I want to run a slightly deeper stop, even if it means giving up an extra contract. So there's a short-term opportunity on the Falcon, or Falcon. Is it Friday yet? Getting everything confused. All right, so if this drifts back, here we go. Now we're working on our 4-arrow consolidation. Okay. and our hash mark and triangle have just printed. I'm going to look at taking it above the high, so I'm going to offer up an extra tick in order to get the entry above the high. And that should be our 4-arrow consolidation, and hopefully we'll see the market gain some momentum from this point. But we have had a pretty good move to the upside, so if this is your first trade of the day, it is not the best looking setup. Okay, so our 4-arrow consolidation is retreating a little bit. We can adjust our trade parameters accordingly. So we can look to enter a little bit earlier. I'll still look to run a slightly deeper stop. And what I'm looking at for the stop is my eye is kind of drawn toward these levels here. I'm also looking at these swing points through here. All right, now we've got a macro pullback, which coincides with our 4-arrow consolidation. So we're going to be looking for some buying support now coming off of these levels through here. The old resistance is supposed to be new support. It was support here. Let's see if we get some added support. Getting anything else across the board? No, not yet. Oh, we did have another red bar buy signal here off of the hard edge bounce. And let's see, have we found our profit target yet? No, not quite. Close, but not quite. It's coming up to the top of the hour. And sometimes we see the resumption of the trend. Which this morning seems to be up. Soybeans are still floundering sideways. Crude oil here on the Hawk is flashing a possible sell signal. We've got our first micro-macro cross to the downside. This one I know tripped a little earlier, but I think everything was still mixed up at this point, yes. Even though the signal did work out, technically speaking, this is our first micro-macro cross signal. Now, high probability signal, yes. Always right, no. The problem here, of course, is once again the test of the extreme that we're looking for. And the fact that this market seems to be content to be going sideways. Right, that can be a little problematic. Okay, so here's our 4 arrow consolidation / macro pullback. Let's see if we can muster enough here to get a bit of a rally going. Starting to generate more double dots. You see, when we're starting to get these clusters of double dots, sometimes that suggests that the market is weakening somewhat. Because you don't get these double dots unless some of these selling parameters are being met. So we've got actually a triple dot here, possibly a triple dot here. It's nothing to get too excited about, but it is, just something to keep an eye on. Okay, we're taking some serious heat on our trade now. And we need to see the buyers step up one more time, after which we can start to get a little bit more aggressive with our stops. Come on, get up there. Get up there. So it looks like the market is softening somewhat. We need this test of the extreme now, right? That's the part I'm holding out for. If we can get the test of the extreme, then I'll probably look at getting a little bit more aggressive on the stops. I'd love to see two green bars in a row here, or two rally bars in a row. That would tell me that the buyers have made a real effort. Come on, let's go. Get going. Haven't got all day. Let's go. Come on. Well, here's soybeans again while we're waiting for that to do something. Here's soybeans with a red bar buy, and you can see the market still very, very choppy, very, very sideways. Lots of yellow bars, not a user-friendly market. However, we are setting up for a possible failure of this red bar buy. So that is a possible sell. Again, nothing I would get overly aggressive on. In fact, it looks as though we could dial down our risk amount here and look at selling the failure and just throwing a single on it. Getting a possible trend change signal here in the Falcon. So we've had the down. Here's the up. Here comes the down. Trend line has changed color. Filter is in sync. I can anticipate the triangle and hash mark printing down here. So it looks like we might bounce off a primary resistance. If that is the case, it is likely that the market would retreat here to the primary support. But once again, not the strongest looking signal. Look at how soybeans has pretty much been trapped between primary support and the first resistance line. If anything, it's mildly, ever so mildly bullish. I'm trying to telepathically will the NQ higher. Well, this would be somewhat encouraging. If the Falcon came back here with a buy signal, that would give us a late filter entry signal, which we know tend to be reliable signals. Well, you've definitely lost some of that early momentum that we've had. Okay, well, you see here how the hawk has attempted to put in a little bit of a rally. Now's probably a good time to engage my stop strategy and look for the market to hopefully continue to hold this support area and trade a little bit higher. I was debating holding it back until I saw a break of this trend line, but that might be asking too much. We'll see. Oops. Tom's asking, are you not worried by the yellow bars on the hawk, Eric? Yes, sir, I am. I took this signal early up here off of the 4-arrow consolidation and the macro pullback signal. I didn't actually take the trade here off of the yellow bars. The yellow bars were a concern because, of course, yellow bars suggest a market that's lacking any sort of momentum or direction. But I did run a rather deep stop So far I've been able to hold on. Just hope that I can hold on long enough to get out of this consolidation mode. In fact, I'm very tempted to use the parabolics and leave my stop back here just a little bit longer. For me, the only thing worse than a losing trade is getting stopped out of a winning trade. Oops. Okay, so parabolics, well, just starting to roll stops a little bit. They're struggling, they're trying, but they're still struggling somewhat. Well, the market's gotten awfully quiet. I think we might shut down the room in a few moments. If anybody has any questions, please type away. If you are trading this afternoon, well, the trend is definitely up, no question. Could there be a little profit taking going on? Definitely. The market has gotten a lot quieter than what it was early on. However, I think I would still be inclined to look for buying opportunities and not get too aggressive to the sell side at the moment. Soybeans still stuck in a rut, going sideways. Crude oil back and forth like a seesaw. Crude oil putting in yet another rally. I think it's a little too early to say that we've seen a bottom in crude oil. Jim says he thinks the NQ might revisit the 10 a.m. low. I could see that. I could see that being a very real possibility. But like I said, I still wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't get too aggressive to the downside. Notice our hawk trade how it's floundering, but we've just generated a first micro-macro cross, same level that we took the 4-arrow / macro pullback trade on. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, you guys, be careful out there. I'll see you again Friday morning. Oh, before I forget, for those of you who are unable to attend Friday's session, there will be no session the following Monday. That's Monday, February 9. So make a note of that. No session next Monday. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.